Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, Joes. Crusty Old Crow back again to do the promised tactical perspective I've been saying all week in all my other videos I was going to do. And I am doing General Clayton Hawk Abernathy. And guys, I couldn't be more twisted up over a guy, a character in this series, than I am with General Abernathy because, General Hawk. Brigadier General Hawk, in fact. It's a character I was so pumped to get, and I'm still like very happy with this action figure. I really am. As you know, Crusty Old Crow, he loved his action figures in the 80s. It was very tied to his ADHD. It became tied to his career choice, and in a humorous way. He did 25 years, and now he's over here using that military knowledge to stare at action figures and ask himself, does that remind me of anything? Do I have a story about that? Do I have a perspective on that? Is that wrong with the tactical side of things? Okay. So General Abernathy, General Clayton Abernathy, is one of those figures that once I went into the deeper dive, because I never had him as a kid, and like I talked about before, you guys know my history with Joe is spotty due to where I was up here in Canada, and no TV when I was a kid a lot at the time with G.I. Joes. So it's just a little bit of comic knowledge, a whole lot of file card reading, and a whole lot of imagination. And I always had a different vision of Hawk as a kid because he was unobtainable, and then I always thought that was realistic because as a career you seldom meet your brigadier general. Like maybe once a year, once every few years, you meet your higher guys for parades and stuff like that, and just all those kind of events that go with it. So it was very realistic that I didn't have it, but I have them now. And I went into the deep dive on that fall card, and guys, here on the tactical perspective, you know me, I've got a different kind of take on things, and maybe that's what brought you here. Some of you guys have the exact same take on things, and those of you new to the channel, that's kind of what I'm saying I'm bringing to the table. There are other Army guys that do reviews on these figures. I'm just the one that's really passionate about it and really upfront about it. Anyways, let's go into General Hawk's fall card. And then you're gonna start to hear about some stuff from me, and then as per my usual format, once I go through this file card, guys, I'll do my usual head-to-toe inspection on that figure and look at his kit and everything like that, and then I'll do the play grade and the tack grade. Okay, actually, before I even get into the file card, one thing I always do that every review show will do for you, I'll go over what you're getting in the box. Okay, so for that, allow me to pick up things that I am dropping all over the place and bring forward said box. Inside that box, you're going to have your beautiful artwork of General Abernathy screaming his advancing orders to Duke and the others. And that's going to look really good up on my little display of these now that I've started to put those aside. And then for those of you that like to stack and collect, he is number 103 in the series. He is General Clayton Hawk Abernathy. I thought for sure he would be 100, but he wasn't. And I was surprised by that, really. Anyways, inside you get that usual standard package of Cobra versus Joe wrapper that most people toss in the garage. I actually, for some stupid ADHD, OCD reason, keep mine folded up inside and always have. And then the precious box. And this is really all I've been looking at in the release photos that were online about it, and thinking about this character and having a look at what little I could. But there's a lot to talk about even in the box, guys. So, my usual bitching and moaning. I talk about this naming convention. Here we have that full name with the rank and the nickname Hawk, right? So it's that same inconsistency is being consistent. All right, and like I said, there you go. He's 103 in the series. The box art on the side is going to look great up with his precious Joes, and it carries on over onto the front, just under that digital render of everything you're getting. And man, are you getting a lot with Hawk. And guys, that's one of my biggest issues with this. So you're getting not one but two sets of goggles for that for his head, as well as his helmet with his General Star on it. He's got two different types of pistols in play here. One more an auto pistol, I think, and one the standard Beretta looking type, or your standard 9mm pairing. And we've seen that in the display photos. They got him crouching with two of them in his hands. We knew these were coming. The rifle, again, you've got the shotgun coming with him, and we've got a grenade launcher. And I don't know about you guys, but the only other place I've seen that grenade launcher was on the retro line Gung Ho, which is in my collection. It's not a new mold at all, but I'm wondering if I might have missed a figure that also had this before it was on the retro line. If not, this is the course correction from Gung Ho, from the retro line, making its way into the classified series like it should. All right, and on this side, you got that digital render and the QR code. If we scan it, it'll send us to the site. It'll say, money, 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 and tell us all about 103 here, General Abernathy Hawk, or Hawk, as we know him. There's his primary combat functions, PCFs, as I like to call them, and then we've got them repeated on the back of the box art, just above the legal gobbledygook, which is on both that and the bottom. They want you to pay attention to his Yo Joe patch on his jacket, which okay, that almost seems civilian attire. Like, unless Yo Joe is the actual unit name, I don't see a general wearing that patch. But I mean, I could see him wearing the logo. I could see him wearing Joe or GI Joe. But to put Yo Joe on there is, it's almost lackadaisical. And what's that? That's an old man word. That's even older than I am. It was silliness. I feel that silliness. Anyways, they want you to see it. I want you to see it. He's got that scar, I think, just above his lip. Oh, no. Never mind. That was dirt on the box. Ha ha ha. He's got that really good facial feature. Like, he is older. You can tell he's probably in his late 40s, maybe late 30s, but I think he looks more like he's in his late 40s when we factor in his hair and everything. He could even be coming up on me and be in his 50s, like you and me and a few others in our group. And not you young guys, like some of the younger guys that are joining our group. Welcome to it. Hope you're maybe picking something up out of this. If you aren't a military veteran or is current serving and you are collecting Joe and you are picking up anything out of this that you're liking, then this is then I feel like I'm having fun and you're having fun with me. So welcome to the group. Anyways, yeah, you'll see again we got the digital render of everything he's coming with, which I talked about already. Just understanding that one set of goggles is for his head and one set is for his helmet, just like you would expect. All right. Nothing more to talk about on that box as far as content. And I've already gone over the sub boxes. I just want to go over some stuff that you're seeing in the box art. You'll see a lot of online discussions. So here you have the G.I. Joe headquarters playset kind of thing represented in the background. And clearly it's under attack by Cobra, because we know this why it's got a Cobra stun, and that even looks like Cobra Commander might be leading the charge on that one. And Commander's leading the charge is going to be our subtopic of this, but I can't confirm or deny that is Cobra Commander, but it certainly looks like it. More interesting, we have the Sergeant Slaughter's Mauler tank, or whatever that is, Steeler, Mauler, Body Slammer, who knows? I can't remember what it was called. I wasn't a big fan of it as a kid, and I'm still not to this day. However, that's represented in the background. I wonder, with when we get the ferret coming out for Cobra, that ATV, this size, between that and the vamp, I could see this being a quick drop down release to lend more merit to Sergeant Slaughter and Barbecue and the Marauders that they do intend to eventually make, I'm sure. So we've got these three things covered in the background, but then I know there's a lot of talk about this, and I think somebody else might be on the same page as me on this. I just can't remember who it was, but I definitely feel this is Flash and an advanced jump pack with some nuances to it. Flash or Grand Slam. He does appear to be green and red in the picture, guys. And if I were to call up back in the 80s, you got to think about this for a second, just in a marketing perspective. Back in the 80s, the way to get the jetpack was to buy the jetpack launch pad set. And it didn't come with Flash, but he was very clearly represented on the box, just as Breaker was on the Ram when that came out in the 80s. So it was a mirror reflection of what we saw in the 80s, and they're wanting us to see it again now because we're my age and we're recognizing it. It's a subtle nod to the old box art. Okay, so I think what we're going to see is we're going to see an advanced jump pack. We're going to see a flash, and I think that advanced jump pack is because they've already released this jump pack with steel core, and they want to do something, maybe a variation on that, where it's got some sort of bomb loadout or missiles or something that's a bit more effective against the numbers of terror drones and or not terror drones, sorry, the trouble bubbles that are flying around. That's my theory, guys, and I hope it's a gold mine theory for you. I hope some of you noticed it, or hadn't noticed it, and will, it will validate a reason why you watch my shit. All right, so there he is, Grand Slam with it. Okay, so I can understand them doing either or both. But that was the one problem with the Grand Slam and Flash that I think Hasbro is looking at with the original line in its release, is how do you differentiate these two guys a little bit better than they were differentiated in the 80s. And then you got to work short fuse in and zap in. And do I ever have some ideas on those guys? But my God, I think that's what we're seeing on the Hawk box art there, guys. I think that's my breakdown of that. That's gotta be Flash, and that's gotta be the new jump pack variant or something. All right, so I've gone over the box well enough in my crackpot theories, guys. I'm just gonna go quickly check over my notes as I bring the camera in, and we're gonna have a quick little boo at Abernathy, but not like this. Not like this, guys. We are talking about a general here, ladies and gentlemen. You can't treat him like any other Joe. He is something to be uniquely prepped for. Anytime I have ever had a general come and visit, I have had to parade and, oh, look at it, Easter egg for next video. I've had to parade for him, meaning me and the rest of the regiment did a lot of practice on our drill, weapons and DUs and all that stuff. Haircuts abound and days of practice for this guy's time, where he just comes over and says a few inspiring words and then carries on with his job of command somewhere behind the scenes in an office, in an ops center, tucked away, right? So we've all been on those parades for those veterans that are out there with us, and we know what it's like, guys. So let's go to this parade. We'll talk about them after the parade. But first off, days of parade, I should remind you, mean days of parade practice. And in my Joe display, we suffer because days of parade practice left the Joe headquarters unmanned, and oh my goodness, no, I don't have eels, so I represented them with these guys. These are McFarlane toys, but guys, that's there to just remind you that 60th anniversary Diver and Desert Trooper should be hitting, oh God, probably around Christmas. I'm hoping we're seeing how that's coming to us, and I cannot wait to get those up north so I can boot these guys out with actual classified type figures. But Cobra has walked right into this base, no one home, and they are swarming for intel. And of course, they've left their orders and their laptop there and everything on the board, and Firefly and Asp are just ruling the day because they've got a big win on this one. And Crockmaster's kept it simple. He wanted one trophy back from the Joe, and he took that skull back, son of a bitch. Meanwhile, the Bat and the rest of the Crimson Guards are just looking over what Joe's right and who's been doodling what. Anyways, enough about that. Why are they able to walk in like that? Because the Joes found out on Thursday that the general's dropping by to say a few words. So they found out on Thursday, so guess what they did all day Friday, all day Saturday when they should have been with their family, and all day Sunday when they should have been with their family? They did parade practice. All right, so now we find the parade just like any other command level parade you've ever been on. These Joes are getting a little slack and tired because they've been waiting for an hour and a half for the commander to come out there, because he never shows up on time. And they've marched on their old guard, and they've even rolled up an old monument tank of the Mobat, we'll say. And just really quick, the only reason I call him old guard is because he was a conversion head idea I wanted to do for my Steel Legion. The helmet comes off, clearly. And I might still do it, but they've just got a slightly different neck joint. and it didn't really pop off with these, so I'm still working on it. But I wanted to do that the same way I did with Asp and the Yelena Belova Black Widow figure from Marvel Legends. And I guess Star Wars Black Series and Marvel Legends have enough differences between them that I don't think I'll be able to pull it off. But what a short fella. But he still kind of works as far as the actual height. He could just be short like Tunnel Rat. Anyways, that's my old guard, blah blah blah. So we've got them, and then we've got the two bikes getting ready for the roll pass. Look, Stalker finally got on the Ram, and you know, we got out back on this one because unfortunately it's Duke's parade that he's got to hand over, so he can't sit with his bike. He's got to hand over this parade to the good general. And as we get ready, you can see people here, and they know the general's going to be coming in. And in the back again, patriotism. The guys, really quickly, Wide Spirit didn't make my top 10 because he was number 11, boys. The honorable mentions are the honorable mentions, and I should have put him on there, and I totally forgot to, but I love my Spirit figure. He is just fantastic. Anyways, he's up there to receive the general, and, you know, just be patriotic. It's more about the eagle at that point. And there's his personal security Shockwave in the back. So let's get the general out here and let's start talking about him. But, you know, the general would come on and he would saunter on and he would take his sweet time talking to everybody on his way over there. Finally, we'd get the salute from there, and these guys would get the general salute given to they would give him the general salute. The whole squadron would, but that takes a long time to pose. So we didn't do that. Anyways, Duke would hand over. He'd be like, "Do you want to go inspect the troops?" He'd be like, "Fuck yeah, let's go do it." And that would take about another 2 hours as he slowly makes his way to every guy. And he's like, some guys are more dedicated than others. This is such a Joe parade, and this is what headquarters has done. A lot of guys showed up twice. That's how dedicated they are. But he would make his way in the front rank, and he'd be like, "Sergeant Slaughter, who you pointing to?" And he'd be like, "That stupid crow that thinks I would get eaten with a gator without fighting my way out. I'm gonna kill him." And I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna keep filming. Moving on, you'd see, he'd be like, "Who are the F for you?" And guys, I don't care what anyone says. I look at this Desert Commando Snake Eyes, and I don't see Snake Eyes at all. I've decided to name mine Lynx because of that patch, and I have no idea what that is, if that's patch. But if I get a second one, it'll be Bobcat. He's finally got a helmet on there. I don't like that helmet, but it's proven the two goggle theory just for General Hawk. It's a subtle sense of humor Lynx has when he's making fun of people. Same as that beret he picked up off the ground, which actually belongs to the new officer attached to my steel cone Falcon. He doesn't know why they keep telling him to put the helmet on all the time. He thinks that's weird when it's not mandatory, but they've made it mandatory for him for some reason. Anyways, blah 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 parade. So General Hawk head to toe. Let's have a look at him. Oh, one last thing. Hey guys, Crusty Old Crow discovered something today. If you have the Helix figure, and I did fix my Helix knee today with the hot water, but I discovered something that I don't know if it's been talked about or not. But for the way you can do things with Helix, has anybody mentioned that those Lotus blades can clip onto the sheaths like that? And therefore, you don't have to have every piece of kit hanging off Helix. It's kind of cool. I'm sure somebody else must have seen that. But you know, like I said, when I say I watched other reviews, I usually watch them after I make one of my own, because I don't want to repeat stuff. But if nobody else has noticed that, then you can say, "That's why I watched this frigging show." Okay. Anyways, it's not about Helix. I just thought that was really interesting. I'd point it out. Hawk, I'm loving that head sculpt. Perfectly good. I'm gonna take those goggles off. I just had them on there really quickly before I do, just to show you. It's another dusty effect where you can hide the one goggle under the helmet, and it actually keeps the helmet on firm and tight, right? So we'll get those goggles back off, because not those ones, but these ones, so you can see that sleek flow. Sweet, right? So, you know, when I was thinking they're going to make a General Hawk, I was hoping for a Lee Emery or a Clint Eastwood, and what I got was Bruce Campbell meets Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four here, in a little bit of, who is that? Is that Bill Paxton? I don't know. But anyways, just a very stern, excellent sculpt on that face. You can see those age lines starting to show up. Oh my God. And just overall, great facial sculpt. I think it's the same guy that did the Major Blood sculpt, if I heard right. I'm sorry, I got guys falling out of parade, but they've been called to get ready for the roll past and the flyby by the Steel Corps. But Breaker, you are not excused. You have to stay here. You're there to talk about Kit. Ha ha ha. Jerk. Complaining about Kit to the media always results in some sort of ironic punishment, boys. I'll tell you right now. That's coming from a veteran, I'll tell you. Don't bitch about your Kit that your taxpayers, that the taxpayers paid for on media, and not expect to hear about it again later. All right, so you've got that, and the head articulation's really good overall, but of course the neck articulation below the chin line, not so much because of that beautiful fur-lined collar. I feel like General Hawk here, he went down, you know, on a European tour and helped excavate an old crashed B-17 and pulled this jacket clean off the bones of the pilot, dusted her off and slapped her on and did his Joe thing. This thing's got a patina on it that I am in love with. My God, I wouldn't care if 2 other figures came with this jacket and they just didn't do the ribbons and the name tag. Just give more jackets with this kind of effort. Oh my God, that is gorgeous. The only thing that would have just killed this for me and made it so much better was some sort of unit identifier on the back, like a beautiful World War II pinup like thing done faded and matching that patina. I think that would have been glorious, but I don't care. It's a beautiful jacket. I'm glad there's no backpack sitting off of him. That holster you can see that keeps riding up on him is a bone. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's a glorious looking chest holster, but I just don't think it's working out that great unless you get it in the absolute perfect place. But anytime you move the arm or try to pose the figure, that chest holster is really fighting to cooperate or not. You can see the details of his jump wings, and then Abernathy, they actually crammed the whole Abernathy name onto a name tag. And you can see that reddish hue to the zippers. The zipper line and then the actual brass or metal of the zipper and the way this leather breaks up. This is the Rembrandt of torsos in the Joe classified line as I see it. This is the bar they can set. And when we talk about quality control issues, I haven't had one with Abernathy. I wish that could be said about my next video later, but it hasn't. Underneath this holster, you can see he's got all his ribbons on. And this is not something I favor, but I am in favor of it for the just the decorative of the character and expressing that this is Hawk and he is the leader. He is bar none the top brass, right? And then his, you know, all of his stuff's on display. And then you can see underneath that collar, you can see he's got his office dress on under there. He's got his shirt open, but you can see those collars, those general stars on the collar, right? And then going down, just that separation between leather and cloth on that ribbing of that jacket. It's kind of why I pulled the belt down a bit from when I originally got it. The reason I don't like this whole stars on the jacket thing, I'll do that when I go over the file card, which I didn't do earlier. I'll do it as I talk about it. But there's that American patch and then the Yo Joe patch we talked about earlier. He's got those black gloves, and again, the ribbing of the cloth on the jacket is really show. And these are those patent leather gloves and patent holsters and leathers that I talked about when I did my Crimson Guard video. I'm a big fan, huge fan. Pretty sure we've seen these legs before. Don't really care why they work with the character, their concept of it. Same as the boots. I'm not going to get into it. He is field ready. He's ready to go jump up with the Joes and do his thing. And he's got these pistols. I'll get into the kit now. So the reason I'm not a fan of having the patches and everything on there is he's sniper bait. He's got that helmet with the star and he's got that jacket with the patches, and as expressed on the file card, I'll get in it later, he seems to really like to go out and get in the fray, and that's just a detriment anywhere you go. But there's his 1.9mm pistol for his chest harness there. And then oh, turn you over, sir. We'll just turn you over, sir. He's got a more custom, like somebody might have gifted him this and said, this is for General Hawk and General Hawk only. That custom, pardon me, custom grip on his auto pistol here. And it's got his star on there as well. Clearly, just the gun for him. I'm kind of surprised they didn't glam it up a little bit with a bit of paint somewhere on the handle, or maybe just paint it silver. Certainly when I see what they did with CoverGirl's pistol. And speaking of CoverGirl, guess whose shotgun we got? That's right. You get the exact same shotgun you got with CoverGirl. Just all black this time, and that's fine. I'm not quite sure why a general would need to walk around with a shotgun, but this is General Hawk. It's a Joe privilege. This is a hard flex. And then there's that grenade launcher being held by Breaker insubordinately, I might add, for Hawk to display, because, you know, Hawk shouldn't have to display his own shit. He's got troops for that. But again, that gung-ho grenade launcher, right? So that's the kit. We got the goggles. Again, they fit over the head. Cha-cha. Well, whatever. You've all seen the goggles fit, but there we go. Got the goggles on there, and I just don't want to lose them, because that's going to come up in another video about glasses and dreadnoughts. And I see what people are crying about or upset about, and I'm kind of with them. Anyways, overall, this guy reminds me a lot of the movie Patton with the helmet and everything like that. And, you know, if he could have just had maybe issued Sergeant Slaughter's crop, you could almost picture him recreating the "you can't hit them, sir" kind of stuff going on. But just a fantastic looking figure. But he's not logical, guys. He just isn't. While I just kind of pan out a little bit, I'll read out that file card I kept promising I would do and never did because my ADHD got me, and these are one takes. Here we go. I just gotta unlock that with my face. There we go. So General Clayton Abernathy right here. As per the file card, we know that his primary military specialty is artillery, which is interesting. It's not infantry, right? So he is a general that's come over from a completely over MOS, and he's in charge of a lot of infantry, right? But that's what your brigadier general is. He's from a trade. He's worked his way up in that particular trade through his career stream, and now he's in charge of a brigade, right? So it doesn't matter what he was, it's what he is. Secondary specialty was radar. That goes hand in hand with calling in for fire. And there's your subtle nod to what he could serve with your Joe as far as an attachment. Yeah, we got the general with us, but he's our acting foo. You know, he's our forward artillery controller and call for fire guy. Just keep the radio next to him. There's your pose. There's your parading, right? So maybe I'll just keep him next to Breaker. Anyways, born of Denver, Colorado. So if any of you guys down south here on my group are from Denver, Colorado, there's your shout out, Brigadier General. All right. And okay, this is where we got to just quickly talk about it, and I'm going to call it. Hawk was the original field commander of the Joe team before he got his general star, and he was booted upstairs to honcho the entire G.I. Joe operation. He's a West Point graduate and has a list of special education credits as long as his arm. But he still managed to get the main body of his experience out of where it counts, on the battlefield, right? So he worked his way up to his rank, okay? Hawk's the type of commander who goes out and gets shot at like everyone else. Troops respect that. But there's a big if with that. They know he won't ask them to do anything he isn't willing to do himself, and that's why they're willing to do anything Hawk tells them. All right, there's the file card out of the way. Okay, let's just be candid here, guys. This is not a criticism of how Hawk was written in the 80s. It's not a criticism of Hawk at all as a figure. This is a glorious figure. Oh, yeah, go ahead, drop your helmet. I knew I was going to love it, and I did, and I do. But I have an issue with this idea of seeing a general going out on the battlefield just all impulsively and willy-nilly, and getting himself right in the fracas of everything. That speaks to a lot of command failures and a lot of people under that he says he trusts. That's micromanaging. If your brigadier general is showing up over there, he's showing up out there after you've won the fight and secured the area and waited to see if there's going to be a counterattack or something. Then he's going to show up. He's going to survey what you've done, talk to you, raise your morale, congratulate you, go back to his rear line CP at the jock and tell the rest of the command teams that he's firsthand witnessed the glory of the Joe actions. Okay, and that's the way it rolls. He's not going to go jumping into combat with a bunch of guys with a shotgun and a grenade launcher. If you were going to catch him into a firefight, say a base got attacked and he's there and he's going to fight, yeah, he's going to have a special pistol, right? He's going to have a pistol. He's going to have a sidearm. That's very likely. 2 seems absorbent, but okay, sure. But more likely, he's going to have the standard infantry weapon that's basically kept for him at the QM, and it's nothing glorious. It's just going to be the same gun as Grunt, basically. Nothing, no need for him to have the fancy shit. The fancy shit goes to the troops that need it, right? Like Low Light, like Rock and Roll, like Stalker, Snake Eyes, Helix, all those people that need it. General Hawk don't need it. General Hawk's job is at the rear. He's the big picture guy. They're the small map people, okay? And so him going in with a grenade launcher and a shotgun, to me, is like, okay, man, Flint, Duke, Beachhead, we gotta talk. What the hell are you doing letting him get up like that? When he goes down, what's your excuse? So yeah, we're catching Hawk at his, my helicopter just went down and I just grabbed the kit that was lying around kind of guy, but we get a glorious figure. So on a playability grade, I'm giving this guy, I'm going to give him a B plus. It doesn't matter if I love the jacket, love the sculpt. That's a glorious A++ for aesthetics. No, the B+. Because the kit loadout to me, it was almost off the cuff, kind of just ad hoc. As far as those 2 particular weapons I've been mentioning. The second set of goggles I thought were completely unnecessary, and really it's just another piece to lose if a child actually played with these. I don't know. But for anybody who does photography and all these things or has ADHD like me and moves them around a lot because he wants to see what something looks like, pieces fall, that's the way it goes, right? So that didn't seem overly necessary. Love that they didn't have a backpack, but what would I have liked to have seen with a general? Especially a FUFAC, and it's exactly what I wrote down before I even read the file card. I was like, I wish he had this. It's a radio, a SAT radio, a large radio that he could hold in his hand and talk to artillery somewhere. And it's a set of good, well done binos. Like a really powerful, almost as custom as you made the pistol. His bino should be a classic nod to binos and what guys use to call for fire. I think that's where they could have just made that playability better, because then that looks like a general's kit. A general does not look like carrying shotguns and tube chargers back on his back, right? And maybe that's just a lot of thinking about the movie Platoon that went too far when the creators wanted to create him. But it is what it is, guys. So B+ on playability, on tactical. That's where those considerations come in again. They make no sense again on a tactical level any more than they did on the playability level. So on a tactical level, I gotta go B+ again, because with the kit he'd be fine, but I got a real character consideration with the whole let him charge into battle, lead the Joes, he's always out in the front, all this. This is not practical. You protect your generals. He trusts a good general, a good brigadier general, they trust the men beneath them, and when the men need correcting, that's when he shows up and he talks to the chains of command and downward to make those corrections. If you're seeing him, he's there to make sure that everything is the right way, and then he's moving on. Yeah, it's hard because I really love this Joe. So B+, B+. What am I going to say? Sir, get your ass in cover and leave my guys to do their job. All right? That's it for this edition of Tactical Perspective. I'm going to follow it up a little bit later with the upcoming, who did I get? Buzzer?
Buzzer Dreadnought review. And I'm also going to tend to the hockey game I've been neglecting. My Leafs are over in Europe right now, so I want to watch that. So Buzzer might take a while. But if you like this video, go ahead, press that like. You know, it is what it is. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Guys, we're so close to 100, and it's... that's my only milestone. I want to hit 100 with this shit. I really do. And I'm part of my language, but it's funny. I don't really care if I go past 100 after that. It'd be nice, but that 100 is just an obsessive little milestone because I'm that close, right? Or, you know, feel free to share my stuff if you guys like what I'm doing here. Just try not to mock me too hard and let it get back to me. All right, I'll talk to you guys later, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.